everyone, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. Nigel's Modelling Bench here. If you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button and hit the notifications bell as well, and you'll get notifications of my videos, which come up on a pretty much daily basis at the moment. So, and there's lots of builds going on, and there's a beginner's guide, and there's a build of a World War I tank, and all sorts. So what we're looking at today is the Lancaster's engines from the Hong Kong models kit. And what I've got is, here's the instructions. You can see the instruction manual for this kit is massive, so what I do is I photocopy a page at a time. If you look back, you'll see I've already started doing some modifications on the cockpit, but at the moment I'm a little bit undecided what to do, because Ed Arder are going to be releasing a cockpit set soon, and I don't know whether to carry on and do my own mods or use theirs. I think I might just carry on and do my own mods, because I think, if you know, 3D plastic hand wheels and stuff always look better than photo etched, particularly in 30-second scale. So wait to see on that one. So here we go. These are the engines. This is the build up of them. They're fairly simple. They're not as detailed as the Tamiya engines that you get in the Mosquito and the Spitfire and the Mustang. They're all the same Merlin. I think this one's a Merlin 20, and the ones in the Mustang and the Spitfire are 66, is it, I think. So anyway, yeah, there they are. These are the four engines. These two aren't quite finished. They're sort of mocked up with bits in place. These two are finished. I haven't glued on the header tanks or the radiators. They're just sort of clipped on so they can be painted separately. But as you can see here, there they are with the radiators and everything attached. Hair on there, which is nice. Fit on these, to be honest, is not very good. Every single part, like the rocker covers, the sump, everything needs to be put in place and pegged, because nothing actually just goes on. Most of the pegs are too long, most of the holes are too small. For instance, this here, I believe it's a starter motor. It's the plastic lug that it's on is too deep, so it ends up sitting out too far, so you need to trim that down and get it in lower. Fitting these magnetos was a bit of a nightmare. On this part here, you need to take about 3mm off the length of the peg. And the other thing is, they're actually noticeably smaller than the Tamiya engine. In fact, I'll show you that now. And here we can see the difference. This is the Tamiya Spitfire engine, and this is the Lancaster engine. Now, I've looked online. I know that the Spitfire, the later Spitfire engine, has got a much larger supercharger, and all the inlet tract and everything is different. But from what I can see online, the engine, it should be pretty much the same size-wise. I know this isn't having a dig at HK models. This is one of the restrictions of building a model aircraft with an engine in it. Obviously, the cowling on the aircraft in real life would have been made to fit the engine as closely as possible to reduce the frontal area, and that cowling would have been made of sheet aluminium. Moulding plastic that thin in scale is nigh on impossible. Tamiya have had a very, very good job with their kits with the extremely thin cowlings, but that is some, you know, to get plastic that thin is some pretty good technology in injection moulding. So therefore, the likes of Trumpeter, Hobby Boss, HK models, Hasegawa, Revell, you know, whoever you like, their engines are gonna be slightly small to scale to give you a detailed engine in a correctly shaped fuselage, if you like, or correctly shaped cowling. So if Hong Kong models like this probably would not fit inside the Hong Kong models Lancaster cowlings, I'm going to try just for experiment's sake, but if it did, then the cowling would be too big and it wouldn't look right. So, you know, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. So there we go. That's the actual engine comparison. And as I said, you know, this is kind of clipped together here, and it's quite nice the way HK models have done this, because it means you can paint the aluminium parts separate and then just fit them afterwards with a tiny dab of super glue or something. But yeah, overall, you know, there's detail there. It needs a lot added to it if you want to go to town. With this kit, you do get the 4 engines, as you can clearly see here. But with the forthcoming Wingnut Wings kit, you're only going to get 1 engine. However, that 1 engine is going to be a lot better detailed. So now we've looked at that, let's move on and look at what I've done to the exhaust stacks. On sprues, you've got the individual sides here, and you must remember that in this model you get a spare set, because it's not mentioned in the instructions, although it is shown in the sprue callouts. You get the option to build this model without engines, so you then just get the internal sort of heat shield part and the actual exhaust pipes themselves. So yeah, doing what I'm going to show you now is probably not so much a risk, because I'm sure, in fact I will confirm before the end of this segment, that they are exactly the same, so you have spares to play with. So let's have a look at what we're going to do. What we get in the kit is this. You get these, I've taken them off the sprue, and what you get is this, and as you can see, it's sort of, there's a shape there, but it's not very deep. It looks very plastic, and what I want to do is get to this and show you how I do it. So you can see that straight away that is a lot more realistic, especially when you look along them like this or down on top. You can see they look a lot more realistic, and remember, when they've got matte black paint inside them, they will look completely hollow. Just to give you a comparison, there we go, that's the difference. So one's a lot more realistic than the other, and it's not that difficult to do, so I'm going to show you how. So the first thing I'm going to do, this is how I do it, I'm not an expert. The first thing we do, I should have not cut this up, but to make it easier to work with, get into these smaller bits of sprue. If you take each one off individually, you're left holding them individually, so it's better to leave them on the sprue, I think. So take away that part of the sprue and then cut these off here, and then you've got these segments to work with, which are easier to hold. You can hold them in your hand like this and work on them. So we'll get that sprue out of the way. So I'm going to zoom in now and show you just how I do this, and bear in mind this is what we're trying to achieve. So let me just zoom in now. Get these out of the background. What I've got here is a 0.8mm drill, and I've got a fresh scalpel blade. This is a number 10A blade in my Swan Morton. Any sharp pointed blade like this will do, but it does really need to be sharp. If you use a blunt blade, you risk pushing the plastic around rather than actually cutting it. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'll try and get this in the screen, is with my 0.8 drill, I'm going to drill a hole down in through the, and once I've done a couple of turns, I'm just going to look to check that that's actually in the centre, and it is. So drill a hole, and I'm going to make sure I keep the drill not like this or like this or like this or like this. Keep it square and make sure the drill isn't going to come out top or bottom. So go in like this. I'm just going to go in a few turns. I don't want to go too deep, but you want to go deep enough that you give the impression that it is actually hollow. So going in there, that's probably, I don't know, 2 mil. So I'll do the same on the other side. Again, check it's in the middle. Yeah, that's about in the middle. I'm zoomed right in here, so I'm sorry about the state of my nails, guys, but as I've said before, I've been biting my nails for 50 years, and I can't stop it. I need to try some of that stuff you put on that tastes disgusting. Tried it once before, but I actually like the taste of it. So there we go. Now you can see, if you can pick it out, but on that one there's a light patch, and you can see that's just where the drill has started to thin the plastic out, so that's when you need to stop. Now what I'm going to do now is put the drill in and just go sideways, just to bring the holes out so that they're kind of stretched sideways like this. Now using the knife, what I'm going to do is go in from here and just try and square up these inner corners, because these exhaust manifolds have got a flange in the middle, and I'm applying no pressure whatsoever. I'm just letting the knife blade do the work, and I just want to take those corners out. So it's kind of squaring it up, and I'm working on each side at the same time, because if you just work on one side and then work on the other, you risk pushing it through. I'm conscious that I'm looking through a magnifying glass while I'm doing this, because I'm old and my eyes are knackered. I'm just looking through like that, and then scraping away at that inner flange just to thin it out. And this is where the importance of having a nice new blade comes in, because if you use a blunt blade, you're likely to push the plastic away. So we can see there, I've thinned the middle portion out, just a bit more to remove from up here. Okay, now I'm going to work on the outside edge. So I could just use the blade and just literally, no pressure, just scraping it. And then once again, now thinning out this edge here. And then I'm going to look at it like this, and I can see that I need to remove some more plastic from the bottom. So I'm just going to scrape away at that and then go vertically up. I'm sure that somebody will do this and bring out some resin replacements. But you know, guys, you can buy resin replacements and photo etch and all that, and you know, at the end of the day, if you build a model with all the aftermarket extras on, you will end up with a masterpiece. Obviously, if it's well built. You know, if it's an awful build, it doesn't matter how much aftermarket you put on there, it'll still look like an awful build. But you know, if you really go to town and buy all the stuff and put it on, and you get it all looking absolutely beautiful, if two modelers of the same ability built the same model with the same aftermarket, you both have the same model. You can see there, that is actually all thinned out now and looking nice and thin. Now, what you will notice here is it's a bit furry. The edges aren't very defined. So what we do then, we take our Tamiya Extra Thin here, and with a very dry brush, I'm just literally taking all the glue off the brush. I can just, where are we? Here we are. I can just go in and just, whoops. I could just go in and dab the glue on there. And that's that. And you can see, because I'm doing this on camera, I've gone too thin there and I've taken that bottom edge away. As I say, I've got spares, I think, so I can use those. But that's basically what you're trying to get. The other thing is these are handed, so you've got part number 23 and part number 24 for both engines. So if you do mess up and you can't use the other ones, you know, put that one as the rear innermost exhaust. So, you know, on engine number 2, say, which is the starboard engine, the one nearest the fuselage, put that one. Actually, this would go, yeah, that would be right. Engine number 2, starboard, nearest the fuselage. That's not really going to show very much. So here we go. The other thing you could do, of course, is dab a bit of sprue glue on there and then rework it. So that's how I do that, and that's what you end up with compared to that. Okay, and there we are. I can confirm now that the actual sprue that gives you the additional exhaust pipes and the inner parts, so you don't actually have to fit the engines. They're numbered 1 and 2 on them as the left and right, and they are identical to the kit parts 23 and 24, which are designed to fit actually onto the engines. So what I've done, I've taken one sprue of those, so I've got 5 per side spare. I did mess up a couple, like for example, where is it? This one here, you can see here, I managed to completely remove the, get my camera to focus, I managed to completely remove the central web on that one there, in the centre there. So yeah, and there's a couple where I broke through on the edge. So yeah, I mean, it's good to have the spares in there. As I say, if you don't want to use them, if you put the worst ones at the rear on the inboard side next to the fuselage, then no one's ever going to probably see them anyway. But they will look so much better than the standard moulded kit parts. And as you can see, I mean, there's a hell of a lot of work there. I actually did these listening to the House of Commons live, so yeah, sad, aren't I? So anyway, there we go. That's that all done. That's the engines covered. I'm not going to glue the exhaust stacks onto the engines yet, because obviously the angle of them is going to be quite critical as how they come out the cowlings. So I want to get the engines all fitted up and into the bearers and everything. We got the, you can see the instructions here. We got to start fitting on the engine mountings. Get them in there, get the cowlings on, dummied on, and make sure that the exhausts come out in the right place. The last thing you want to do is get the exhausts on, get them all painted up and everything, and then find you got to bend them all up or down or whatever. So so yeah, there we are. As I say, little bit simple in design for a 32nd scale. I was hoping for better, but you do get the 4 engines nonetheless. So basically, I think with this kit, the rule of thumb is if you're looking for the ultimate in the detail and accuracy, I think wait for the Wingnut Wings kit. If you want one now, then there is nothing else available. But bear in mind, the Wingnut Wings kit I think is going to be more expensive than this one. It's certainly going to be more expensive than when HK Models released this kit without the clear fuselage parts. And the other thing is, if our government decides to, you know, whatever they decide to do with this Brexit and everything, you know, I did see something that apparently prices of imported goods could go up by as much as 30%. So who knows? Who knows? You know. Anyway, you pay your money, you take your choice. So yeah, you get the 4 engines. They could be a bit better in my opinion. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later with another Lancaster update. Bye bye.